Well, James complains every time I tell him to record before he takes roll. It's like, I don't want that in the video. So between the two of you,
Huh. Oh, he doesn't want the roll in the video? I think I want roll. I haven't really thought about it, but I want roll. So Jesus is here. Dario, did you come in? Donna? Armando?
I'm here.
Armando? Do you go by Armando? Armando?
Yeah, that's okay.
Or anything but late for supper? Emmanuel Gutierrez. Brenda and Jose, they're going to show up. They see there must be a time difference in Hesperia. Catherine LeMay.
Here.
And Kat, let's talk after about Lopez. I got really jammed up, okay? Okay.
Sounds good.
If you can stick around after, or I'll call you after.
Sounds good.
Colby. Colby, I saw you. There you are. Ugo. Pretty sure I saw Ugo too. Ugo.
Yes, Hugo's here. And if you could allow multi-pin for the two of us, that would be great.
Okay, I'm sorry. And Lindsay, you have somebody else coming for you too, right?
Yeah, so I'm confused. My team isn't here yet. I'm trying to text them to see. It's not going to be Katie today. It's going to be another interpreter. So I'm just trying to get that figured out in the moment. But you'll see another person named Kim showing up later.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. Eric Garcia Mendez Garcia. Kevin Nolasco. D'Angelo. Rangel. Oh, dang. Josh Santana. Jose Silva Nunez just showed up, right?
Yes, good morning.
Where are you, Jose? Oh, there
Pretty
you
good. And yourself?
Oh, you're all the way down. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So
Glad to hear it.
Eric Mendez, you're not here? Kevin Nolasco? You can't, they can't answer you can't answer a question like that. You're not here? Yeah, they can't answer that, right? It's a stupid question. D'Angelo, Josh. Did I say Josh? I did say that. I'm going back because I can't believe there's so few people here today. John Sesser.
here.
Michael Silva.
Here.
Jose Silva's here. Aurelio Uribe. And Dennis Vega.
Here.
All right, Dennis. And you had tech difficulties 2 weeks ago. Okay. All right, so did anybody come in and not say here? All right, I'm gonna run through this one more time. The people that are not here. Dario Alonso, Donna Davis, Emmanuel Gutierrez, Manny, Brenda and Jose Landeros, Eric Mendez, Kevin Nolasco, D'Angelo, Rangel, Josh Santana, and Aurelio Uribe. All right, well, do me a favor, would you? Everyone, if you see someone pop up, okay. Somebody just, okay. So Brenda and Jose are here. The Hesperia contingent. All right, good. Oh, Eric Mendez is here. See, it didn't take long. My sheet's starting to fill up with X's. And then John, and I'm gonna try to get this doc cam working sometime this week. And if I can't get IT over here, I'm gonna ask you to be my IT guy, okay? If you got time. So Donna, you didn't make it. Dario, you didn't make it. Emmanuel Gutierrez? No? Manny? Kevin Nolasco? D'Angelo? Josh? And Aurelio. Okay, let's start.
Did you mention my name, Rod?
Who just said that?
Eric Mendez.
Yeah, Eric, I actually, just saw you pop up on my screen and I checked you here. So thank you.
Thank you,
Hey,
brother.
hey, Rodney, me and my wife are here.
Yeah. No, I got you, Jose, and I got Brenda, and I see Donna
Okay.
just showed up. Okay.
Good morning.
Donna's here. Brenda's here. Okay. I was about to say that if you see anybody, oh, Michael Silva just, wait. No, Michael's been here. If you see anybody pop up on your screen, new,
Just say.
just say, hey, Mr. Rutt, did you get whoever pops up new? Okay, here we go. Roll, hello. I'm gonna kind of make a habit of this. I'm gonna read you a couple of paragraphs from the 4 agreements, just about the area that I've been, that I'm stopped at, or I've read to, or that I've been reading. Yeah, I'm gonna read 3 or 4 paragraphs from this book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Doing your best. So 4th agreement is do your best. Always do your best. Doing your best. You're gonna live your life intensely. You're gonna be productive. You're gonna be good to yourself because you will be giving yourself to your family, to your community, to everything. But it is the action that is going to make you feel intensely happy. When you always do your best, you take action. Doing your best is taking the action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Most people do exactly the opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward and they don't enjoy the action. Somebody just show up. And that's the reason why they don't do their best. For example, most people go to work every day just thinking of payday and the money they will get from the work they are doing. They can hardly wait for Friday or Saturday, whatever day they receive their money, and can take time off. They are working for the reward, and as a result, they resist work. They try to avoid the action, and it becomes more difficult, and they don't do their best. They work so hard all week long, suffering the work, suffering the action, not because they like to, but because they feel like they have to. They have to work because they have to pay rent, because they have to support their family. They have all that frustration, and when they do receive their money, they are unhappy. They have 2 days to rest, to do what they want to do, and then what do? They try to escape. They get drunk because they don't like themselves. They don't like their life. There are many ways that we hurt ourselves when we don't like who we are. Okay, two more paragraphs. On the other hand, if you take action just for the sake of doing it without expecting a reward, you will find that you enjoy every action you do. Rewards will come, but you are not attached to the reward. You can get even more than you would have imagined for yourself without expecting a reward. If we like what we do, we always do our best. Then we are really enjoying life. We are having fun. We don't get bored. We don't have frustrations. When you do your best, you don't give the judge, that's your inner judge, the one that's judging me right now, the opportunity to find you guilty or to blame you. If you have done your best and the judge tries to judge you according to your book of law, you got the answer. I did my best. There are no regrets. That is why we always do our best. It is not an easy agreement to keep, but this agreement is really going to set you free. So the 4 agreements: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make any assumptions, and always do your best.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Good. I just think it's great generic wisdom, and I want to pass it along. I'm trying to inculcate it as much as I can in everything I do. I tell you, I bought 6 copies of the book. I sent them to my kids, all my kids, and my wife, and 1 for me. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to check one more time since, Kevin Nolasco made it. Okay. Because see, if I don't check you here, you're not here. And that affects your grade if you're getting a grade. Okay, good. Let's have a safety meeting. We're going to have a tailgate safety meeting. Oh, and if you can, please show me your faces. I respectfully request to see video of your faces. It's disconcerting just to see your name. It makes me wonder if you're there. Eric, you there?
Yes.
Good. Donna, you there? Donna? Donna Davis? Okay, so. Let's go to safety meetings.
Hey folks, this is Lindsay, the interpreter. When you go around reading this, if you wouldn't mind reading a little bit slower than usual, that would be helpful because I don't have a team today for some reason. So any slowness would be very appreciated if you don't mind.
You got it. You got it. Where am I? Zoom link. Okay. What am I doing? Sorry. Are you guys seeing my Canvas tab?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. All right, here we go. I'll start us out. This is on Skylight Safety, which is, I actually have an excuse me. I have an anecdote about Skylight Safety, which I'll tell you about when we finish. Introduction, Skylight Safety, introduction. In an average year, 23 people die because they fell through skylights. Excuse me, these deaths were especially tragic because falls can usually be prevented through training and proper techniques. I'm so sorry for all the yelling. I've been up since 5. Not that it matters. All right, types of guards. Donna, you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, could you read that, please?
Types of guards. Can you hear me?
Yes, 4x4.
4x4. You must support 400 pounds.
Okay, Donna. You're up.
Well, is that the correct? Am I starting at skylight
Oh,
and
yes, I'm
screens?
sorry. Exactly. Skylight.
Okay. Skylights and screens must support 400 pounds or twice the weight of the employees, whichever is heavier. Can't deflect downward on impact or break the glass below them. They must be either made of grill work with openings no bigger than 4 inches, slat work with openings no more than 2 inches, or some material of equal strength.
Okay, how about guardrails for Armando?
Guardrails must consist of a top rail, mid rail, or equivalent protection. Must be 42 inches to 45 inches high.
Keep going.
Fall protection system. Fall arrest. Lanyards, vertical lifelines, and anchorages shall have a minimum breaking strength of 5,000 pounds. Must be rigged so the employee will not fall more than 6 feet or contact any lower level. Fall restraint. Anchorage points must be capable of supporting 4 times the intended load. Covers must support 400 pounds or twice the weight of the employees, whichever is heavier. Must be secured in place and must have a sign stating opening, do not remove.
Okay, how about Colby, your responsibilities?
Aware of the hazards of working near skylights and take them seriously. Always know the layout of the roof before working on it. Be aware of any skylight that may be covered under snow or dirt. Look for tieback roof anchors so you know where to use your fall protection. Look for potential tripping hazards. Attend your safety training. Inspect your fall protection equipment daily. Tie off only to those anchorage points that have been identified to be safe. Pay attention to what you are doing. Distraction leads to mistakes. Know how to recognize good anchors and tie off points. Guard or securely cover all holes you have created or undercovered before you leave the work area. Other workers might not notice the undercovered holes and fall through. Do not engage in horseplay. Never sit on, lean against, or step on a skylight or anything covered, any covering placed over a hole in a roof or floor. The material may not support your weight.
Thanks, Colby. Conclusion, Michael Silva?
The National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health have identified the following as contributing factors of fatalities of falling through a skylight. Failure to identify and eliminate fall hazards, failure to use adequate fall prevention systems, removal of hole covers by workers, and failure to take the extra precautionary steps during bad weather conditions. You can avoid these factors and fatal falls if you remember to take the proper safety steps when working around skylights.
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments about this skylight safety? Anyone? No one? Has anyone fallen through a skylight? Huh. Okay, so I have a really good friend named John Holhouse. And he is building a job right now up on Campanile Hill. It's a big job, a big house, very modern. I mean, it's probably 9,000 or 10,000 square feet. A lot of cast in place concrete and a lot of skylights. I think a flat roof and big skylights, like 4x8 type skylights. A multitude of them, at least 6, and they were covered, and he was on the roof and he backed up and the plywood wasn't nailed off over a sheet and he hit the plywood. There was a couple of sheets of plywood, and so they gave, and he fell 10 feet. And lucky for him, it was a slab below, very lucky for him, he hit one of those Costco, and I don't mean Costco, but Costco. It's that, polyprop tables that fold up, folding legs.
How are you spelling that, Rodney?
Cosco, Costco.
Thank you.
You bet. And he hit one of those tables, and that gave him some bounce, and then he bounced off of the table onto the floor, and consequently he really bruised himself really badly, bruised his ribs. He had some internal bleeding, minor, but it was a pretty bad thing, and it could have been really bad. And as it was, it kept him off the golf course for 4 months at least, kept him off his bicycle at least that long. It was not a good thing. It was really, and it could have been fatal. And I don't know about you guys, but when I think about accidents like that, really bad accidents that have the potential to cripple or maim you, I just hope mine's fatal. I know that's really kind of a weird thing to say, but if I'm going to be hurt really, really bad and really, messed up like forever, I think maybe I might want to say adios. But then that's pretty morbid, huh? Okay, let's move on from there and let's go to, I want to bring, I'm going to share a screen with us all again. Come on, here we go. And let's go to, let's go up here. Oh, I thought I had this up. Track. Okay, so this is a floor plan. This is a site plan. I know Jim was talking to you about sewers and talking to you about waste and plumbing. He mentioned that to me, that you guys had talked about septic systems and city sewers and things like that. And, just gonna, oh, you can't see that. I was taking the video camera to show you the board, but we're sharing a screen, so pardon me. So this screen that we're sharing is a plan of a house I'm doing.
Hey, Rodney,
Yes.
can you full screen this with those crossed arrows to the right there?
Can I do what now?
Yeah, full screen right there.
How's
Thank
that? Is that better?
Much better.
Is that better for everybody, I hope? Okay, good. So I wanted to show you this plan and tell you that it's a house with an existing slab that we tied into and poured on a new slab to extend it for a new master. Made the one bedroom a little bigger, a new master bath and a new master bedroom, and then made the living room a little bigger. So we're adding one bathroom. That's the only waste we're adding. And that bathroom, I'm going to go to the site plan. I'm going to go, let's see, I'm going to have to take this down, go to the site plan. And I'm going to kind of take my mouse arrow and walk you through this problem I had. I finally figured out a solution for. So this is the site plan. And what we have is a pretty obvious city sewer line with a big old clean out, and it's clay pipe. And here's the existing house right here. And that sewer line, the clean out is right about where my arrow is, and it runs straight, and it's been cambered. There's a giant clay clean out coming up out of the ground and a slab that we broke out when we did the grubbing, just a surface slab with no steel in it. And the sewer line goes this way, and then I think it might go just a little bit. It might do like an eighth bend and shoot to the street, and it ties into the street right about here. And actually from there, it's from the existing bath, it's about 18, there's about 50 feet. It's about maybe 56 feet to the street from the existing bath in the house, which is about here. So not knowing anything about the sewer except that it went this way, we knew that, and that line had been cambered. With the existing bath and the way everything was, everyone's assumption, plumbers and myself included, thought that the sewer left the building and came right out and tied into that lateral, either probably just right in front of that clean out, and that the kitchen, which is over here, and the laundry, which is over here, both went straight across underneath the slab and tied in somewhere in the vicinity of that bathroom. And so everything exited the building in one place. And that was our assumption until we got further down the line. And at one point, actually fairly soon into the job, it was suggested to the owner that we, since we're going to have a whole new sewer lateral, we're required by the county to put in a whole new sewer lateral to replace this copper or this clay pipe, this older clay sewer mainline lateral to the street. We were going to replace that, and we knew we were going to do that coming down. So early on in the job, I wanted to cut and break a line through the slab, existing slab, from the kitchen and the laundry, and run, and tie the laundry into a new kitchen run, tie into a brand new waste. Put it all in new 3-inch ABS, nice clean pipe, get new drain pipes everywhere. And the owner decided not to do that because she's leaving the slab as a finished floor. It's going to be ground and then clear sealed. So it'll be a concrete floor. So she didn't want it cut up. And okay, so we left it at that. We have existing drain lines. Let's hope they're good. So when it came time, like right about now, to check out these drain lines, I found we had a blockage, and I had it cambered, first snaked and then cambered, and I have a blockage like right about here. So I'm going to go back to the floor plan. Okay, back to the floor plan. So we had a mainline blockage. The line was cambered from sink locale under the slab to a blockage right about here. And there's a laundry right here that shoots across. And so we couldn't figure out what it was. And it made no sense whatsoever. So we started digging. We uncovered the sewer pipe here and we dug and dug and dug and found no laterals, no place where the sewer line left the building. And then we dug and dug and dug and dug back this way until we got to actually past where the new part of the house began, and we found a lateral. So what that sewer did, as it turned out, is the sewer went this way, left the house in the opposite direction that it goes, then came out, picked up that mainline sewer, and then went this way all the way to the street, which we're going to do that again, but not from back here. We're going to lay a new sewer lateral, but we're going to go, at this point, we're going to abandon these lines and re-pipe new waste and new waste. Tie this laundry waste into the new kitchen waste, come right around here, and then shoot straight across, pick up that new lateral, and then we'll go in and she'll have all new waste plumbing, and the whole driveway gets pulled up anyway as part of the plan and gets a new driveway. And when it gets pulled up, we will be trenching for that, laying that new waste, although we'll get the stubs in now. But we'll also be running a new gas line, 1.5-inch gas line, all the way back to our utility room, and a new 1-inch water line all the way back to our utility room, and new service entries. So that was my my sewer odyssey for that 2 days. And my motto, or my credo that I live by personally is I want to get right into the solution as fast as I can. So when there's a problem, I want to identify the problem and then get right into the solution and not dwell on the problem. Dwell on the problem long enough to just identify what it is. So anybody have any comments or questions before I move on to something else about sewers or
Good morning, Rodney.
Hey, who's this?
Aurelio.
Hey, Aurelio. Oh, you're here. Okay, cool. Thanks for checking in. And while I got you, Josh, did you come? Or D'Angelo? Emmanuel Gutierrez? Dario? Okay. Okay, I got you, Michael. Or Aurelio. So any questions, comments? Anybody want to chime in on this? No? Okay, so let's go ahead and get to, where's the next place we're going? Okay. We are going to go to week 7, and we're going to go tour a job. We're going to interview Duncan Brown and tour his extremely interesting job. Oh, but before I do that, I'm going to do one thing here. One thing that I meant to do. Now, I hopefully you guys will be able to see this, but that's just my sheet of just a little sketch of the area. And then it's the area. This is the garage laundry. This is the kitchen waste, 25 feet, and 43 feet is 68 feet. So I got 68 feet to bring that new waste. And as we all know, waste needs to go downhill at 2% or 1/4 inch to a foot. And in 68 feet, I need 16 inches of fall. And guess what I got? I've got almost 42. I got about 42 inches of fall. So I've got not quite 3 times the amount of fall. So I am good with fall, because that is the thing in waste that you really need to watch out for, because you've got to have the fall. You got to get it away and out and gone and to city sewer. And as luck would have it, we got the depth of the sewer. and the fall to make it go away, and she'll have all new plumbing. And now let's go back to what I was going to do here, which is show us Duncan Brown. Start out with Duncan Brown.
We're recording. Okay, we're recording. Surprise. It's Rodney. As you all know, your CP worker on the structure right now. I'm interviewing Duncan Brown at a job site. He is the superintendent of, Duncan works for, it's not Allen Associates.
Allen Construction, we rebranded.
Allen Construction, used to be Allen Associates. Is Dennis even now?
He is still on the board.
Okay, good. Yeah. I like this a lot. So anyway, Duncan has been doing this a while, and he's building this incredible house, and they're at a stage which we're going to go down and show you, but he's trying to get the thing out of the dirt right now.
I'll show you
We got some content.
rendering.
This is what we're going to do a little bit more of that right now. I'm just on it right now. And look at that. That's so when we go down there, we're going to be looking at the pool area a lot.
I stopped this because Duncan and I, towards the end of the videos, will be standing right here just to give you some kind of perspective, looking out over the pool and looking at this kind of bedrock that is chipped away. And we're looking at over here, there's a vault below this little gazebo type thing, and that's where the ejector pump, the sewage ejector pump goes. And I'll talk to you somewhat about that. But this existing slope is 23% grade. San Marcos Pass is 6%. Picture 4 times the steepness of San Marcos Pass.
Just, we're up here. Yeah, up there. Okay. So Dunk, let's back up here and please tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into this business?
Right. So I started out wanting to be an architect in middle school, and I studied drafting and architecture and such up through first year of college. And I just kind of burnt out and wasn't really into being behind a desk, so I got a job in construction to see what it was that it took to build what I was thinking I was designing. And the rest is history.
Well, what so did you, so you see you had 1 year college? And then you decided?
Well, I stopped architecture because I was burnt out. I took fine arts to get more of a creative edge, and found out that I was more of a sculptor than I was an architect. You know, so at heart I'm an artist, but I love creating things. So that brought me into construction. Plus I had to, you know, work my way through college. So that was an easy way. Started out digging ditches. Did that for 3 hours, and the guy I was working for said, wow, if you can dig a ditch that well, I got another job for you. So he put me on finish work almost immediately. And so I helped him scribe in 1x6 siding into brick chimney and such like that, and just took off from there. So I've always liked the finer, more detailed aspect of construction. And actually, I worked with Rodney back in the 70s and 80s. We did some amazing projects. And, you know, it's either sink or swim, and we swam.
Do you remember the Pacentes?
The Pacentes.
Yeah, the curved staircase.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do. Yeah, as I said, sink or swim, and we swam.
Yeah. So really challenging projects.
Yeah,
Super challenging stuff we'd never done before, but we knew we could do it, right?
That's it.
And we had the tooling, and whatever we didn't have, we buy. I hope it's picking me up. but, so you worked, for other people, right? For a while, and then when did you kind of get, so you worked for me for, we were working together for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 to 6 years.
5, 6, 7 years.
And then off and on after that.
Right.
So I started my own cabinet shop, and that was my first break off from working from anybody. You know, I had 3 really good mentors, Rodney being one of them, Jeff Thompson another, and then another, anyway. So I really got to know ground up, you know, from foundation to framing to finish. I always liked to finish more because it was the finished product, and I liked the intricacy of it. So I opened up my own shop and got my own license, and from there got a contractor's license and did remodeling and actually ended up doing some design builds myself. So I brought my architecture background back into it, and then I finally decided that I wasn't much of a businessman. You know, did great work, but never really made much money. So I went to work for somebody else, and that way I could leave the finances and everything else. The aspects of building that I don't really enjoy.
So is this when you went to work for Alan?
Actually, I first started working for a company up north, American Home Builders, and I was a supervisor for apartment complexes. We'd go into 5 to 6 acre lots, brush it out, 16 buildings, average of 170 units, and in a year and a half, we'd be turning them over. In fact, we turned them over as we built. So we build the clubhouse first, and that would be the sales team. And as soon as we finished the building, they'd be renting it out. So they'd be right behind us doing that. So I did that for about 4 years, and then did mid-rise condos in Seattle, which was very challenging and rewarding. And then, you know, 08, 09 hit, out of work, along with 2,300 other superintendents. And
From the same company or just?
No, in Washington State. But got a call from an old buddy of mine, builder, Randy Eskelson, and he was doing a turn of the century New England farmhouse off Toledo Road. And he said, you know, you're not working, I could use your help. And so that brought me back down to Santa Barbara. And after finishing that house with him, he's kind of a one-off type thing. So I needed to keep working. So I looked for the best 3 companies in Santa Barbara, and Allen Construction was, you know, one out. So I've been working for them since January 13.
January, so.
2013.
8 years now.
Yep.
8 years, and then did you go right in and get a job from them? Did they hire you right away?
Funnily enough, you know, I was really hungry, so I said, look, I'll do carpentry, I'll do anything. And they said, no, we don't have anything yet, you know, but we'll give you a call. Well, 2 days later, they said, hey, you know, can you start working? And they gave me a project that was a remodel, a very fast turnover, very loosely designed and you know, detailed turnover, and I did that turnkey. So I was the project manager, the superintendent, and the carpenter. But so that was my, you know, trial by fire, shall we say, with the company. And right after that, they gave me an estate in Buellton, which was nice, a three building retirement home for a couple that it was a Bhutanese design by Tom Oshner, and beautiful building, beautiful. Yeah. So he's one of the better architects in town.
He's great. Does anyone here know what a Bhutanese design is? Anybody? Linda, did you ever find out?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
I'll find out for you next week. I'll have an answer for what the heck a Bhutanese design is.
Yeah, God, I got some stories for him, but anyway. I have stories about everyone. So then what? I mean, how did that come out?
That came out great. You know, it was easy, 10 acres. We were, you know, centralized on the lot, plenty of access. I mean, plenty of access. So that took just over a year and a half. I think it was a year and 9 months. And from then they actually understood the depth of my experience.
What you could do, the potential was there for Mr. Brown as an employee, you guys more than employees now?
We are an employee-owned company. Yeah.
That's great. So they have some skin in the game besides you. And then did you just graduate to larger and larger and more complex projects? Because we're gonna get into this project. This is pretty big and pretty darn complex. It seems like Apex type stuff, really, to me.
Yeah. So yes, I did. Once they saw what I could do, at the same time I was finishing up the Patterson project, the Omarosa wine tasting room came up. And since I was within proximity to that, they had me run that along with finishing up the Patterson project. From there, the owner or to-be owner of Omarosa, who took over for Sanford, he was building a house on Franceschi Road. Almost as complex as this, but not quite. Logistically, it was easier because there was more space.
The site was not steep, right?
It was on the ridge, so it was steep, but there was easier access. I had room to go around the house.
It's not as steep.
No, not as steep as this. Yes.
I'm just grass, so I can't talk in a minute. But did you
So, and then finishing that,
Did you get my message?
you know, they
Okay, yeah, check,
put me on this because
get rid
I
of
knew
the
what
concrete, get it out of the.
I had experience with hillside
We can-
foundations and structural steel.
Yeah, isn't this sort of a Tuscan sort of Italian?
I would call it that. Yes, yeah, I would call it Tuscany.
Villa type thing.
Right, exactly.
Spanish type tile, or Tupi style and stucco and all those things.
Stone columns, a lot of stone floor
See this
veneers.
again. Let's see this one more time. So this, I want you to take a look at this because you're gonna see and try to, we're gonna take you down the site. And we are going to show you what's happening and describe how this thing is gonna wind up on the site. But that's a rendition. That's an architect's or artist's rendition.
So if you notice, the outside living space, which is almost as much square footage as inside, cantilevers over all the other floors. So that would be better. So it's as far as the, you know, I've got a sketch of what the no, I got it here. This is the excavation, what we've had to do in the hillside. This is the driveway coming down.
Which we'll walk down soon.
And then this is the main level, lower level, and pool deck level.
So that's the main cuts, and that's how the topography of the existing land is about to be cut and then retained and then built upon, right?
Right, so obviously we have to build bottom up because the building envelope is tight to the edges. There's no access around the outside of the house.
None?
So I've had none. Zero.
The house comes all the way out to the lot.
Not lot lines, the building envelope that we can't go outside of is within a foot or two of our building. It's crazy. You know, I had to get special permission to get a 5-foot variance so that I could actually plaster this with scaffolding. I mean, I had to ask permission to be outside the building envelope for that. But consequently, I had to make a ramp down the middle, and we're gonna build bottom up. And as we do the walls, we can backfill. You can see how little space we have for any equipment. So we can't cut that until we've moved the ramp 2 or 3 times and taken it out from level to level and on up. And you'll see that that'll be evident when we go down the site.
So let's walk over and look at the plans. Those are right here. And I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I think I'm close enough to Dunk's mic that you can hear me. And I think what I'm gonna do is handle this. And I have this horrible tendency to put my finger over the lens. Not gonna do it today. No, I'm not. Okay, here we go. Good. So here's the plans.
So this is the pool level guest house. These are the size. This is the retaining wall, which is 12.5 feet tall. And that's the size of the footings are 10 feet, 3 behind, 7 in front.
How deep?
2 feet deep, but it's solid bedrock. This whole level is, in fact, all the levels are pretty much solid bedrock. So you'll see out of all this, and there's some things I did away with some of the cuts because it just didn't give us enough room to get equipment around. So I put caissons under these I-beams instead of these huge footings, which would have been 5.5 feet in the ground.
So I want to explain this for just a second. Where I'm hovering my mouse over, these were giant footing pads. Looks like, without zooming, it looks like at least 6, 7, maybe 8 foot wide, probably 2 feet deep. These pads here, and these pads here, which are now gone. So he did a Duncan suggestion. It was re-engineered and resubmitted, and they were able to eliminate these footing pads by putting caissons down and tying even further into bedrock and tying these grade beams to caissons and these walls above, and got rid of a whole lot of concrete and a whole lot of excavation, because the site, as you'll see, the site's pretty tightly excavated. Caissons eliminated the giant footings.
Correct.
Cool, man. So did you come up with that?
I did.
Dude.
Yeah. As well as getting the embed for all the caissons, their depths reduced because of the field conditions of the soil and the bedrock. This is all the steel that goes in, so this is a framing plan. And then this is the next level, this is the back of that. See, so these.
Is this the guest house?
No, this is the next level up.
Okay, this is the next level up. So this is the main house.
This is the lower level of the main house, correct?
Hey Rodney, this is Lindsay again. Would you mind allowing Kim to use the multi-pin function?
Not at all. Let me get her up here.
Thank you.
And it's Kim, right?
Kim Rich, yeah.
Kim Rich.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay. You are there.
It's got two bedrooms.
This is like right in front of the pool?
This cantilever is over the guest house above the pool.
I see. So the guest house is on the pool level.
Yeah, so actually, looking at the spiral going down from this level and spiral going up to that, and this comes from the motor court level. So, this is all.
Right here. See, so we're all the way up here where my finger is, right?
Yes, yeah, at least.
And then we're gonna come down. We're gonna probably stand somewhere in here looking out over the pool, right? Or maybe in here looking down.
Correct.
Did you guys
Anyway, so the amount of foundation work in solid rock is extensive, and being able to move equipment around holes is not the easiest thing to do. So logistically, it's very challenging.
Moving around holes with a, what percent grade is this? Like 8%? 9%?
No, it's more like 23.
Yeah, sorry. I was only off by a factor of 3. So this is the upper level garage.
So this is the garage and the motor court. So the motor court actually,
So this, what we're looking at, this plan?
so this is this level up here.
Okay.
Thank you. There we go. So that's the elevator in the garage, which
That's the
is
garage, which is
right here. So the motor court cantilevers.
That tower right there, that
This.
tower right, well, I can't
This
see it,
one.
point to it. Yeah, that
This tower is right
That
there.
tower in plan view.
Right. So what this does is this motor court cantilevers over the lower, the main deck to create a shelter or a covered area to get to the main door.
Okay.
This area also cantilevers over what will be the kitchen and lounge, as well as the entry, so that you are now inside as you go down.
So from the motor cart, you walk across and get out of your car, just walk across and then come down the entry foyer with some places to sit, and then you go down the spiral staircase to the living room.
Right, so, and that's the.
I don't live here.
Right, so this is the entry foyer, so the viewing area is spectacular.
That guy right there.
Right. Yeah. So going down, so this is the covered area here on the beams. And you drop into, and this drops down, and you are now into the front door.
Garage is over here
Up top,
above, and
yes.
the elevator in that tower.
Right. And this is the,
So right here, this wall, we're gonna be standing down there, looking at this giant cast in place concrete wall at one point. I'll remind you.
entry. So you've got, your master suite is the whole west side. You've got your living and dining room, kitchen, and stairs down to the next level, as well as exterior stairs down to the next level. This is a barbecue fireplace area outside the main kitchen. And of course, a wine room.
Of course, oh, not just a wine room, a circular wine room.
Yes, indeed. And then this is the,
Radiuses though, as we all know. One of the simpler things in the world to do, right?
oh, absolutely.
All you need is a Trammel Point.
Yep. It's,
All right, I'm eating dried cherries. But I wanted to qualify that because it said all it needs is a travel point. It says right there. And that's not correct. It's a trammel point. It's spelled Trammel, trammel point. And it's the basis of any radius. It's where you start out with an anchored point and then you swing it around. And as you, if you got an anchored point on one end of a, whatever radius, a stick, a pencil, a compass, and swing it around, it will cut you or draw you a true circular radius from a trammel point, a fixed point where you spin it around. That's a trammel point. And we use it a lot in construction to build things, from small things to gigantic things.
it's gonna be a fun build once we get out of the ground. Getting out of the ground is not that fun.
No, it's not. You got it. And I just got to interject here. Getting out of the ground is virtually the most important part of the whole thing, because if you screw up down there, it all translates.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
so.
got to get it down, and it's the hardest part to get it down, because, you know, so you have
It's
a
the
surveyor
roughest-
out here.
Yes, absolutely. We've got all the grid lines, you know, the
monuments,
right.
they give you good lines, yes.
Yeah, so the thing that's most important is knowing the entire build and how it goes, all the finishes, how they interact with the structural. And without that, you know, you can be off a lot, and I don't have tolerances on this. We've got structural I-beams that have a 2-inch finish around them. If you miss that on a 2-inch finish, then you're kind of SOL.
SOL, I'll explain that later.
So, and then from that upper deck, which comes out over, so this here juts out here overlooking the pool. And the guest house is half underneath the upper deck and half out. And so that's this area. But
there's the pool, and of course, in front of the pool, it just kind of, the water just disappears, flows over. Oh, I love that. I swam in Warren Beatty and Bennings when I did the gates on Cold King.
nice. All right, you want to take a walk?
Yeah, let's take a walk. So this is, I want you guys just to see the plan. This is the plan. Let's just spin through.
No, this is the architecturals.
Yeah, that's just the architecturals. Putting what we've been through was the architecturals inside.
That's all the architecturals. These are the structurals.
That's
of all the way that the foundation works with the wide flange columns and the grade beams.
Oh man, he's really some information, isn't he?
So, and then of course you have civils, plumbing, mechanical, electrical, lighting, and all the finishes. So those are all the plans to do this house.
Yeah, I'd say the architects and the engineers probably need some bank. Okay, so we're gonna say goodbye to Duncan's office, Duncan's mobile job site office. I'm gonna say, well, first we're gonna say hello to it. Oh, here it is. Here's another rendition. That's cool too. That's a good looking rendition, but not as nice as that pen and ink one.
Yeah.
So finish schedule, hardware's been picked out.
Yeah, these are all the
Riviera
bronze doors or windows.
Well, Riviera bronze, so it's all bronze doors and windows?
Not all. We've got about 25% Anderson clad windows.
75% Riviera bronze?
Yeah.
What's the penetration number?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Like 5 million for the window? Can't be that much.
For the doors and windows?
Yeah.
No, it's only 750,000.
Oh, okay, I want to shut down.
You guys getting the scope of this project yet? Getting a feel for the scope? It's, let's see. Hi, we're gonna take a break. It's 10 straight up, but before we do, you getting a sense of the scope of this project? It's just huge.
Yeah, I want to live there, but I don't want to pay any of the bills or clean it.
It's one of those things where if you have to worry about that, you can't afford it. So, yeah, it's just beyond belief. I mean,
right?
If you look at, if I look at the amount of planning and the amount of people and organizations that have gone into the planning of that job, it's over the top. You know, it's like the fixtures are picked out. The interior fixtures are picked out. The plumbing fixtures are picked out. The registers are picked out. The tile is picked out. It's like all these people have been involved for years to get this down. And so there's going to be questions, and questions come up on jobs, and site conditions dictate, you know, create problems and dictate answers and solutions. But there's a lot less questions when you spent this kind of money and brought this kind of a team in to really get what you want. And ultimately, it comes down to the money. Construction costs on this job are estimated at 17 million. And I would not be surprised that it doesn't go 20, because rarely do jobs stay at their initial estimates. So let's take a break. It's I've got just 2 minutes after 10. Why don't we take a 13-minute break and come back at 10:15? I will see you all then.
You're muted, Rodney. You're still muted if you're trying to talk to us.
How's that? Better?
Much better.
Good, good. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, John, for pointing out the error of my ways. Okay, come back, Mondo. I want to see your face. Come on back, Dennis and Jesus. I want to see your faces. Eric, Jose, Dennis, Donna. Come on back. Let me see your faces, gang. CT111 gang. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So everybody come back. It's we're past the break, so I'm assuming you're coming back, that you're all gonna come back and they're all listening. So I want to see your faces though, please, when I go to my gallery view. In the meantime, I'm gonna tell you that I got a vaccination appointment. Did I tell you this? Can't remember if I did, but yeah, I've been stressing big time because I'm 72 and I'm an educator loosely, and I'm eligible, and I haven't been able to get an appointment anywhere. And I've looked, you know, Santa Maria, Lompoc, Ventura, Oxnard, and Newberry Park, and then I've signed up on all these sites, and then last night or yesterday afternoon, I got an email from Cottage My Chart, and I got an appointment for 11 a.m. on Wednesday to get my first vac. And I hope you all get your appointments soon, and then we all get vaccinated, and then we can all get back together and have in-person classes face to face, and I can see your smiling faces right in front of me, and we can do things together and all that great stuff. And in that vein, the vein that I'm in right now, I'm going to read another couple of paragraphs I was reading during the break, and I thought I'd share these paragraphs with you. It's a continuation.
Rodney, excuse me, when you read, could you just slow your pace down a little bit? Thank you.
No sweat. I think no sweat. I'll try, Linda. Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you.
I'm not going to do that. I'm only kidding.
So am I.
Okay, so here we go. So this takes off from that's why we always do our best. It's not an easy agreement to keep, but this agreement is really going to set you free. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself, but you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means you practice, look honestly at the results, can keep practicing. This increases your awareness. Doing your best really doesn't feel like work because you enjoy whatever you're doing. You know you're doing your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative repercussions for you. I got to read that again. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry. You know you are doing your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative repercussions for you. You do your best because you want to do it, not because you have to do it, not because you are trying to please the judge, your inner judge, and not because you are trying to please other people. Anybody relate to that? Pleasing other people? Anybody? If you take action because you have to, then there is no way you're going to do your best. Then it is better not to do it. No, you do your best because doing your best all the time makes you so happy. When you are doing your best just for the pleasure of doing it, you are taking action because you enjoy the action. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Inaction is sitting in front of the television every day for years because you are afraid to be alive and take the risk of expressing what you are. Expressing what you are is taking action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, and no reward. You know, this philosophy, it's Rodney again, this dovetails with everything I believe, this thing about action, you know. There's another aphorism I love, which is you can act your way into a new way of thinking, but you can't think your way into a new way of acting. You've got to take action. It's the actions. The thoughts are all great, and they usually and should, in my opinion, precede action, even though some actions get taken without thought. But with a thought preceding action, then you take action, then it becomes real in the universe. So I have subscribed to this philosophy of working for fun and for free. Well, I tried to get into it when I was actually working, and I did to a certain extent. And I take that from a book called A New Pair of Glasses by Chuck Cunningham. Chuck Cunningham, A New Pair of Glasses. But he expounds on his philosophy of working for fun and for free. So since I've been retired, 6 years now, over 6 years, not really retired anymore, it seems, semi-retired, but since I retired, you know, was doing the stuff I wanted to do, I found myself with 24 pieces of arts and crafts furniture, really beautiful stuff that had been severely damaged in the mudslide. And I mean damaged by covered with mud in a house that I probably got torn down. I haven't checked. It was a house I had done work on, and the furniture was ruined. The cushions were ruined. It had been floating in mud, and it was $75,000 worth of furniture if you bought it from Berkeley Mills today at their shop in, I think they're in San Jose. Just incredible pieces. A 9-foot with leaves, solid 8-quarter maple dining table and craftsman style trestle base with ebony inlay and bird's eye maple inlay in the center. 10 chairs, 2 with arms, maple back splat, beautiful curved chairs, 4 solid beefy cherry arts and crafts chairs, and 2 ottomans with with splayed legs and ebony pegs, 4 incredible cherry bar stools, all the upholstery ruined, and you know, 24 pieces of furniture that need a lot of work. I mean, as it turned out, not complete sanding and refinishing, but just getting the mud off and the upholstery was daunting. So when it was first offered to me in late January of 2018, right after the deadly mudslide, I turned it down. I thought about it for a couple of days and said, no, I don't want these things because it's too time consuming. In the first place, 24 pieces, each piece has 4 legs. Actually, the table had more than 4 legs, or did it? But anyway, 4 times 24 is 96. Each leg has 4 sides, 384 sides, individual sides. Had to be mud scraped off them and then cleaned with Murphy's oil soap, and then cleaned again, and then put on with a Mohawk Restorer, and then maybe some sanding and some catalyzed varnish finish. Too much work. I was asked again, I think in March, I said no. And then in May, I was asked for the final time by the guy that was representing the owner. So these are going to go in the dumpster now. No one wants them. So my circumstances had changed and I took them. I said, I'll take them. I had agreed to teach a summer 1 class with 22 14-year-old high school students. And we needed projects, and we made that a project. And a couple of my students came with me in a U-Haul truck, and we picked it all up and we brought it here and we went through the process. And so speeding along a little bit, I had all the furniture in my oldest daughter's 3-car garage, and I was working on it. And there was one particular day, it was in the afternoon, and I was sitting on a stool, and I had a leg, and I had, was doing one more thing on the leg, one surface of the 4 surfaces of the leg, of which there were 4 on the stool. I was just had a thought, and the thought was, man, this is tedious. And then the next thought that popped in my head was, but this is a labor of love. I love doing this, and I'm creating something, and I'm not working for money. I'm working to create something beautiful and lasting for someone that I love. And that, it was like, it shifted for me. Something shifted in me, in my awareness of myself and how I do things. And it's never changed. I haven't gone back since that day. I mean, I'd given some lip service to working for fun and for free, but that particular day, a shift got made, and it was a good one. So there's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I told you that story, didn't I? Vaccinations.
Sounds like something I would enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And I made
Household things. In fact, I want to take your cabinetry class.
Oh, good. Yeah, we have some kind of fun in there, I'll tell you. I want to show you some of the joints we do, but now's not the time. I make myself a note here. Do you ever do that? I make myself notes sometimes. I write them so fast. Oh.
You can't read them?
I don't know what in the heck I meant. Okay, yeah. Okay, got it. Okay, so Jim Cunningham called me during the break. He somehow intuited that we were having a break, and he let me know that Santa Barbara School District is looking hard for 3 carpenters. Now, he didn't know if they were journeyman carpenters, entry-level carpenters. I suspect, they're journeyman type carpenters, but I don't know. But the Santa Barbara School District is looking to hire, I think they start at 28 or 30 bucks an hour, and they have pretty good benefits. And they got a lot of work for the schools that wants to be done. So if anybody out there in this class is interested, or if you know anybody, put it out there. Santa Barbara City School District, you can go call, you could go, their headquarters is on Cathedral Oaks. I'd just go there if it was me and I was looking for a job. Okay, let's go back to, I got a couple of chats here. Okay, Kim Rich, muted. Okay, gotcha. So anybody else have anything else for me before I get back over to the Grossman job? No?
Hey, Rodney.
Yes.
That the type of architect that they're doing, the
architecture.
Yeah, the architectural stuff. It relates to spiritual. It comes from Bhutan, from the Tibet area, and everything that it flows, it represents like peace in your life. So everything that you like, if you go from room to room, everything's supposed to flow with peace in your life.
So it's not boutonniere, like a boutonniere, you know, like a
No.
you know, a carnation in your buttonhole. It's Bhutan, Bhutan, something or other, right?
Yeah, watch. I'll read you what it is.
Wait a second, wait a second. I'm having a really hard time hearing the student. It's all breaking up, so I cannot hear that. And can you also please spell whatever you were saying, Bhutanese or whatever it is?
Yeah, I was just doing that. It
But I
comes
missed,
from,
but I missed it, Rodney, because the student started talking and I couldn't hear
comes
what
from
you were saying.
Bhutan, comes from Bhutan, the country, Bhutan. And Jose, would you read it for us, please? Thank you.
It says Bhutan is the first country in the world with specific constructional obligations on its people to protect the environment. Bhutan is the only nation in the world where the state of tobacco is banned.
The sale.
Yeah. Well, it said, yeah, the sale of tobacco, yeah, you're right, is banned. And then it says at 24,840 feet, gathered Putnam, and the highest point of Bhutan is the highest unclaimed mountain in the world. And then it comes back and it says, these tradition crafts represent hundreds of years of knowledge and the ability that has been passed down through century. Turton Perma Lingpa is traditionally credited for introducing the art into Bhutan. It says, given the large influence of the Buddhists in the country and his long history with Tibet, the main architectural style of building here is that the Tibet Buddhist style. Iron bars, iron nails are actually not used in construction, which make architecture of Bhutan different from the rest of the world.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you. Because that is we could have a class on that. I love that. Thank you so much for finding that for us, because I mean, I may have forgotten, and I certainly would have been looking at Bhutanese, but
yeah,
gotta
it's called
Bhutanese,
you know what I mean? And it's pretty crazy, man. It got introduced into our states in the 17th century.
It's just awesome, and which brings me to Tom Oxner. So if you heard Duncan talking about Tom Oxner, he's the guy that was doing this Bhutanese architecture, I guess. I'm going to find out more about it. But Tom Oxner is a local architect, and I've worked with him on more than one project, but I'm super impressed with him, always have been. He's really a great architect. He's got incredible ideas, but I got to do a really interesting project for Jim Kearns, who owns a Bernard Maybeck house. As a matter of fact, it's the only Bernard Maybeck house in Santa Barbara area. It's in Montecito. And just for some background, Bernard Maybeck was a contemporary of Frank Lloyd Wright, and was a popular architect at the time that the Green brothers, Charles Green and his brother, were designing properties all over the world, integrating the design into every aspect of the architecture. And then the Green brothers are pretty much credited for bringing the arts and crafts movement to the United States of America. And the arts and crafts movement in the late 1800s, early 1900s was a direct reaction to the industrial age and the machine age, which we'd started stamping things out, and we'd lost some of the artsy, craftsy parts of our architecture and our construction. And there was a concerted effort to bring that back, and it's called the Arts and Crafts Movement, and it spawned a whole design a whole design that's very popular today, was popular then, and it's duplicated today. And if you look at the classic California bungalow, it's an arts and crafts design. So this was a Bernard Maybach house, and he was a big arts and crafts guy. He was a Bay Area architect. If you look him up, he's got a giant beard, interesting looking guy. But this house that Jim Kearns owned, that Bernard Maybach designed, was unbelievable in every way. So the project that we were tasked to do, that Tom Oxner drew, but I'm going to tell you about the project, and I promise I will get through it. But backing up a second, if you stand behind the house, it's a fairly large wood house, 2-story. And if you stand behind the lot, big lot out by the pool, and look at the house and gaze at the silhouette of the roof line, and let your gaze go to the mountains behind, the roof line follows the ridge of the San Ynez Mountains exactly behind. And that was by design, not by chance. It's really cool. And the thing that we got tasked with doing is that the owner bought a piece of art in Ireland. He bought a stained glass of Jesus, and it was about 2 foot or 22 inches by, I think, almost 9 feet tall. And then there was a Mary. It wasn't a manger scene. It was one of Jesus, maybe St. Peter. There was 2 panels, 2 old, like 14th or 15th century stained glass panels. They're very, very valuable, like in the millions of dollars. And we were tasked through the design to build a box to house them and light behind them, and have this box be accessible, and do the framing and mount them in his staircase wall. As you came down the staircase, you'd go by these lit up, incredibly beautiful antique pieces of stained glass. And it was just an absolute pleasure to do. And ultimately, we had this big design thing about accessing the bulbs, because it was initially going to be a fluorescent behind it. And we wound up scotching that because it was so hard to access it, for starters. And nobody liked that fluorescent. And we wound up doing, what's the lighting called? It's on a stalk. It's on a plastic stalk. Come on, anybody. Fiber optic. We wound up doing fiber optic lighting. So the light source was way up in his master closet, and just with a bundle of cables, that were fiber optic cables with light on the end, came through. We snaked those through and brought them up and behind. And so the light source was in another place that was super accessible, and we never had to get to the back of those stained glasses. And as far as I know, they're still there and doing well. So I'm feeling loquacious today. Let's share a screen and go to Duncan Brown. Let's go back to the Grossman project. Here we are outside. Now, before I start it, that thing right there that Duncan's standing on, who can tell me what that is? Nobody? John?
It's a thing for cleaning tires.
What's it called? Anybody? It's called a rumble plate. And any job that there's dirt work, a fair amount of dirt work, they're usually called out somewhere in the site plans, and they're a requirement, and there are to do just that. So trucks leaving the site aren't taking a whole bunch of mud and rocks and dirt on their tires. They're hopefully leaving the majority of it, if not all of it, on these rumble plates. Here we go. Back to Duncan and the Grossman job. Look at how steep this thing is.
We are back recording. Duncan. We're outside now.
Hi all.
Duncan's project. So can we call this
The Grossman project.
We're going to call this the Grossman project. It's up on, it's a private tract of land. We looked at the plans. We talked about that. We knew a little bit about Duncan. Now we're going to head on down.
So the first thing I had to do was get this wall in order to get some kind of a flat staging area.
This is the slope, okay? This is the slope. So, wow. I mean, just rubbing this thing.
Yeah, it was. But where the silt fence is basically my building envelope. So you'll see how close it gets to the building on the sides. And actually I cheated that by about 4 feet to get enough room for scaffolding after framing's done.
Is this then just a hammerhead turnaround part of the drive as you come?
No. We'll have an interior wall 16 feet from that does the same. This is actually high for the cut. So we'll have, at the apex of this turn, it's about 3 feet high from this grade to the driveway. We had to do that to get a 16% slope on the driveway for fire department access. Yeah.
This is where you could.
No, too steep. So the driveway sweeps around and then sweeps around again. And where the brush is the entry to the motor pool.
Okay, so as you sweep, then you're gonna turn this way?
You sweep in and you go straight in. So it's.
Okay,
So we're still on the driveway, right? We're coming down. And then this is the beginning of the motor court. So we've got a retaining wall here that'll be part of the driveway, another retaining wall there, and a little structure goes there, but that's a retaining wall for the motor court. The motor court goes out to where it starts stepping, and that's that cantilever over the kitchen. This is the garage. And I've opted to put this wall in first. Well, first of all, I had to do all the exterior walls so that I could start building inside. They had their caissons 30 feet down, either behind the walls, because I couldn't build outside.
So would you say big part of this is timing, understanding flow and critical path?
Huge part, and when to the point where every other day I'm.
Can somebody unmute themselves and explain critical path to me? No? Okay. Donna, you know about critical path. Can you explain it? John?
When you have to do a project in a certain order, certain steps.
Yeah, that's critical. I mean, that's essentially it. All projects have a critical path, which means certain things have to get done before other things. In some areas, you have options and choices which can come first. That's not all poured in stone or poured in concrete either, but critical path is getting the stuff done in a way that you don't get ahead of yourself. And he'll talk a little bit more about that, because at this stage of the game, he's had to forward think a lot of stuff and make sure that it gets done before something else has to happen. Because if he didn't get something done, missed that, thought he could do it, at another time, he could be, it could be SOL. Everybody knows what SOL means, right? If you don't, ask me later.
Saying, oops, well, maybe we can't do that right now. We'll have to do this. And
maybe I should have done. Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
I haven't come to that yet. No, not yet.
Tell us a little bit about the waterproofing and CIP walls.
So what we have is, first they put a membrane on the wall. Then this textured mat. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but that's drain board. So the water will hit that and go all the way down. Then there'll be a traditional French drain at the bottom, and we backfill. Correct. Yep.
Take it to,
So, and this
daylight
is,
somewhere.
right.
We're gonna have a hell of a lot of trouble getting things at daylight with fall here.
Can't daylight anything. Everything goes to right here where the excavator is going to be a 20-foot by 4.5-foot, not dry well, but it's a vessel that will get most of the ground and roof water and then go to a dissipator field.
Okay,
So
tell me the size of it again.
it's 20 feet, 4.5-foot diameter.
So 4.5-foot diameter by 20-foot deep.
No, 20-foot long. So it's a cylinder that lies just below the surface.
And then is it supposed to reach?
It has baffles to slow down the flow of everything that's coming into it, but then it's got one outlet that will eventually get to the landscape where it goes into a dissipator bar. So
you're putting it back into the groundwater.
Yes.
You're telling it where.
Yeah, so this is huge, you guys and gals. We have to do this. We're required by the powers that be, and we should be doing this. We got to tell the water where to go on the property, but more importantly, on the hard surfaces that have no percolation, that are not permeable. So all your concretes and paving surfaces, all your roofs, all that water, which is a fair amount of square feet of water, we need to tell it where to go. And in this case, we're taking it. He's going to take it into a large cylinder, 4.5 by 20 feet. So what's that? That's like it's 350 cubic feet. And then that's going to be baffled to slow down the flow. And that's going to make its way down to some sort of a dissipator down where the landscaping is. It looks like they have an orchard planted. And then it's going to dissipate and make its way back into the groundwater. It's not going to run off to the ocean. It's not going to bring a bunch of boulders and mud with it and kill a bunch of people downstream either. But it's also, the water's not going to just flow into a creek and wind up in the ocean. It's going to stay on the land and hopefully perk down to our aquifer like we want it to. So we can actually be recharging our aquifer when it rains and not just having a bunch of runoff. Because typically, we used to build houses and not think about stuff like that, cause all kinds of problems, or just have all that water just go away. Now we want to keep it as much as we can because we're very water wise now.
There you go.
yeah.
Not letting it just run willy-nilly.
You can't, you're not allowed to do that. You have to mitigate all your water these days.
You have to tell it where to go.
Yeah. And let it out slowly.
Yeah. And I have some conditions where I'm gonna have to do some small dry wells, some collection boxes, or a pump.
Right.
Speaking of pumps, did you get it?
Yes, they did.
We get down and we'll talk about the ejector pump, but what else about where we are now?
So as I said before, these exterior walls, I can't go any further outside of them. So this is my ramp down the center. It used to go all the way down to where you see the forming for the pool, but that's, we take the ramp out stage by stage as we're developing a level. How I've figured this out is that was great to get access to do the exterior walls. Yeah, much better. But I can't, all my footings and most of my structural elements are on this side of the house. So now that I've got most of it staged, I put this wall in for two reasons. One, it's going to contain the ramp. I'm going to move the ramp over to this side and go up again.
I posit that he put the wall in because it's on the plans.
That exterior wall so that I can clear this to do the majority of my footings and structural elements. Then I connect the dots. This is a cold joint for this wall. It gives me enough to do my garage, backfill my garage, so I've got a little bit more of a stage.
Okay, so kind of what I meant by that is that all these walls that are shown in the plans, the footings, you know, Duncan was able to get rid of some of those super massive footings and go with caissons. But all these walls are on the plans, but it doesn't tell you on the plans in what order you do the walls. This is where you got a savvy job super, which Duncan is.
Area. As you can see, the footprints of each level is quite small and doesn't give you much room to move around, let alone equipment. This is going to be the only area that gets overexed. This is the motor court, and this has about a 2-foot clay base on top. Most everything is down to bedrock. So.
How happy I am to have the problems I have.
Well, it is challenging. That's true. As you said before, you know, it's a gamut of emotions.
It's great to be around. It's great to be around you because I just remember what it was like. What it was like.
Yeah, that's me slipping on that insane grade. Almost went down.
That was me falling.
So I was supposed to get stairs yesterday, but they sent too big a truck to even get off the freeway. So eventually between the levels, I'll have these adjustable stairs with handrails and make it a lot easier because this has been getting steeper and steeper as the tractors go up. Yeah. They dig in at the bottom and just make it steep.
So this has just been scooped out.
Yeah. Plus we have to access the two sides, so that makes that. So this is where we talked about.
Remember I said we're going to be down there looking at this big wall? That's the big wall I was talking about.
This is the main level. And that's where the elevator is going to go in that corner.
So above that is the tower that's connected.
Well, above that wall is basically the whole garage, and the tower goes up above that. So
this CIP cast in place wall is part of the interior, the main part of the house. Well, I mean,
this is the retaining wall for the main portion. I've got columns that with I-beams that are out at this line here. The motor court extends out to this point so that you have covered space to walk into your house from the elevator.
Of course. I wonder, so would these walls just get furred with steel or wood studs and then become interior walls, or do
they get plastered?
Oh, they just get plastered themselves.
Yeah, because this essentially is the exterior.
Okay.
Right, still. The interior walls back here.
So this is still exterior. I got it.
This is all exterior, just covered. So this is.
So you can come down the elevator and you can
walk into your entry, all nice and covered.
Faced in that way, right at the entry, right before the entry forecourt.
Well, again, the motor court, this is the lounge and this is the kitchen that goes out to that corner. The motor court goes out to where it starts stepping down. Those are exterior steps to get down to this level.
So I noticed there was 2 parking spaces there.
Yes, that's over the lounge part of the main room.
And then those 2 headouts, what are those for?
That's just decorative grills, just to break up the monotony of the wall. That'll be a 42-inch guardrail wall above the level of the.
So that right now it's finished is 42 inches, or it gets like.
So I'm pretty sure that right there, that 2x4 is probably the level of grade for that motor court above, and that this will be a 42-inch high wall there with these 2 decorative grills in it.
finish on top of that? Gets a guardrail on top of it?
No, it's down 3 inches for, it gets a stone cap and mortar, but that the wall just
That's
gets
it.
plastic.
So grade is 42 inches below that.
Correct.
Plus electric stone cap.
Yeah.
I just, the details, man, I mean, I wonder how long these guys have been on this.
So this was one of those almost aha moments, or oh no. We were doing the grade beams and everything, and we've got the caissons, and I went, you know, this was at the beginning of the project. I said, I've got to get my steel in because it's 42 inches below this footing. So in order to do the wall, I got to get the steel in. So we decided to do a half column so that we didn't have to worry about the exact
Center.
plumbness. Well, it still has to be centered, but we were.
So what he's trying to explain, and it's a little bit hard, is that you'll see it in a minute. You'll see this big, massive, wide flange I-beam coming up out of concrete, and it stops, and it's going to continue way up. But they didn't set the whole I-beam at its the length it's going to finish at the time, because it would have been just so hard at that point to get it to be plumb and to stay plumb. So they put what they could encase in concrete, stubbed up enough so they could weld onto with full pin welds. And then as they continued on the building and got to that, then they could extend that wide flange beam.
We were concerned about how we would, stabilize that, because that beam's going to be 18 feet tall. Well, it would have been 18. It would have been 18.
It's going to get another beam bolted onto it and continue on up.
Full pin weld up to the next level. So it'll go up another 10 feet.
Who knows what a full pin weld is? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody at all? Okay, so when you hear about or see called out a full pin weld, they're usually need to be inspected and signed off by deputy inspector a lot, but it's a weld where there's no breaks. It's a full pin. It's the weld is the continuous, the continuous to where two pieces of steel or whatever you're welding together are joined together. It's a continuous weld. No break in the weld. No open spots. No nothing but a continuous bead of weld. And it's down into a footing now.
It is.
Bolted to a footing? Is that flange on the bottom? Is that what it is? And then dry packed it and then poured around it?
So we got a case on that it sets on and bolts to.
Okay.
And then we've got a 42-inch deep grade beam, as you can see exposed there, that goes underneath and attaches to that.
That grade beam, that's the step footing. It just continues on as a grade beam. Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah.
How many yards it comes?
I haven't even added it up. I'm almost afraid to, but.
Jordan, who's running your job in KCI?
Carlos Wizer, he's excellent. I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah, watch your step.
By the way, it is a full pin, P-E-N, not P-I-N. It's a full pin weld, and it's basically a full penetration. That's a pin is abbreviation for full penetration on a weld.
So we are now on the lower level. And the upper level, or the main level, comes out to this point and then extends over with its own balcony deck out to that point.
So we're looking at the pool.
The pool is that's the formed area, correct?
So where this piece of equipment is going to be that guest house.
The guest house is the rumble. right? So from where that footing is dug out, that's how wide the guest house is. Then it's open area covered by this deck. And then it has a semicircular stair there that runs down to a trellised patio that runs out to the end of that form, or the cast in place concrete out there. And that will be pool deck level. So
obviously this is getting a giant retaining wall.
yes, this has a retaining wall that goes from that wall. Well, all this, the zero clearance, that'll be a shotcrete wall. This is a poured in place with the footing. That's why, the footings are 10 feet by 2.
Okay, what's a shotcrete wall? Shotcrete. SHOTCRETE.
It's a lightweight concrete that's shot from a hose onto some sort of forming, usually mesh or rebar.
Onto anything, onto a mesh. It needs to be reinforced. So they'll tie steel to that bedrock and to that dirt that you see, that excavation, and then they'll blow on through a big hose and a compressor. They'll feed a lighter weight concrete slurry. It's essentially concrete, but it's got a little bit more air in it, so it can flow through a hose a little bit better, and it shoots a little bit further. It's called shotcrete, and they'll shoot it on, and it'll slump a little bit, so they'll lose some, maybe as much as 20 to 30%, because it slumps down, gravity takes it down, but they'll probably get it, well, they get as thick a wall as they plan to get. Shotcrete.
Feet. As they're digging the footings, they're rebuilding. This is the third time we've had a ramp in here to get the work done for down there.
These guys, this backhoe and this excavator have to come down.
Well, it's got to come up that ramp.
Did they come down this ramp?
They came down a ramp similar, but not quite this steep, not quite this material.
Down there, they've done all this, and they're gonna have to come.
The big one has to come up this. The small one has to clean up whatever this machine can't get out of there and clean up. Yes, it is. And the mini will clean up all the footings and then be hoisted out of there by that machine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this X will just swing around and hoist this guy up and out, right? Chain him up.
The small one, yeah.
Pull him out, which actually, that's not really well, I guess it is a mini X, but I've seen a whole lot smaller.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No.
But it's.
Looking at what we have here, it's a mini X.
So Duncan, the plumbing here, is on, eventually it goes into Montecito Water District, right? City sewer.
Correct, and that's up on the street level.
Right, so that's all the way up. You get a sense. We come a ways down. The trailer's up there, and the street there. So under the street is sewer that eventually ties into Montecito Sanitary District, and it's a city sewer. Now, as we all know, 3 things we know about plumbing is waterways vent, and excrement rules down there according to we can't go down here because we're crossing other people's property, right?
Correct.
So there's no way to get to a city sewer that way, plus easements, etc. You just can't do it. So how are we gonna make, Duncan, how are we gonna make all that waste go uphill and
Well,
all the way up there?
That's why we have mechanical engineers. So they've come up with a ejection pump, grinder pump system for the sewer.
The ejector pump, which has a variety of pieces to it, not the least of which is a macerator, which is the thing that chews it all up, right?
Liquefies all the waste.
Yeah.
And then puts it into a big tank. Well, it all goes into a big tank, gets chewed up, and then by pumps, it gets ejected through an 1.5-inch tube all the way up to the top of the road.
So
And
out of that vessel, what do we got here? Okay, I got 17 minutes on the battery. That should be about good.
Okay, so I don't know if you really want to go all the way down here, but
I want to see, because when I was here, I saw your
the hole that we had.
well, I saw the ejection. The tank. I'm trying to think of the word tank.
The ejection tank.
It looked like it was pretty heavy. Is it rubber, polypropylene?
It's polyprop. It's not. It's only about 300 pounds. Empty. It is buried in the ground at the south corner of that vault.
So is it inside the vault?
No, it's just outside.
So on the
That vault was an after.
I'm going to stop for a second because the battery went dead at the end of this, and I didn't get some of the stuff that I wanted to show you. But I just want to stop now and point out this area right here. That is carved out rock. That's the bones of the earth. That's not soil. That's carved out rock, bedrock. You really can't get much better anchor if you're going to anchor a building to something.
Thought for all the plumbing or the pool equipment, because there wasn't enough room under the cantilever deck. That gets a concrete deck that'll eventually have stone on it, and it'll be topped with a trellis, so it's a semi-shaded area. The vault underneath it was, because of our terrain, it wasn't as steep as or changing it as much as the civil and the architect thought. So we had to dig down in and actually get more height, as well as he didn't want to see the equipment. At the first design it was just stuck under the cantilever. Now it's all the way in the vault, so you don't see it, which is a much better design.
How many gallons is
It doesn't really hold. It keeps, I mean, at most it's about 7, probably about 200 gallons. You can see the top of it. It's that the green top. So it's now buried in the ground.
That's that piece that was over there, kind of in that corner. When I was there the other day.
Yeah.
Now there's the green top. I'm gonna zoom on it.
I didn't think you wanted to go down the ladder.
Yeah. Anyway, it's over there. Now, and the reason why I'm spending so much time on this is because the miracle of when you turn on your faucets, when you flush your toilets, the miracle of, it just goes away. Well, yeah, it doesn't just go away.
It goes downhill.
And it goes downhill until it's all pipe plumbed, with gravity to feed it into that tank. And that tank chews it up, liquefies whatever goes into it, and then a pretty good sized pump.
Yes.
How big is that pump?
Well, it's an 80-foot head.
Yeah.
That it's got to get.
So that means the head is it has to pump it uphill, straight uphill, 80 feet. That's the head, and then it's fall.
It's 300-foot distance.
Yeah, 300 feet fall for the head. I mean, that's huge. So that's a pretty big pump. And that's the system, and it's all wired up with alarms and stuff. So if ever the pump fails or anything fails, the thing will start blaring and drive you out of a sound sleep. So you want to fix it. The last thing you want is sewer backup. This is the pool. This is looking back up at the site. And I think, so Doug, how long do you think you'll be on this?
Oh, it'll be 3 years.
So you projected 3 years. And how far into it are you?
I am 9 months. I brushed this out in May of 20.
COVID setbacks or anything?
We've had a few, pool guys for one, their steel group had a bout of COVID go through it. So there's been different, our waterproofers have the same. Luckily at this stage, there's a lot I can work around. As it gets to more of the finishes, that's a different story. But when I can't do the pool, I move ahead, and it doesn't make it that much more efficient, unfortunately, but we keep going. We have to. We've got a deadline, and the owners expect to have their house when they do.
Oh, yeah, that's always fun. It's always fun to have that. So 9 months into a 3-year project, and it's just begun, really.
It's just begun.
And really the thinking and the working out of all these problemas, and figuring out better ways to do things, figuring out worse ways to do things, usually almost always better, but at least figuring out how to do things. That's at every stage of it, and that just never stops.
It'll stop. Well, it'll slow way down once we're out of the ground. The foundation work, especially on this, because of the terrain, because of the lack of access. It's, as you can tell, I mean, we're 12.5 feet down in a hole, and we've got to finish digging things and get equipment out to the next level, then backfill that level to access other things to start building below. So it really, the challenge is, dealing with what comes in between or before or after trying to get the foundation in. Perfect example is, that I-beam, the column, the wide flange column. Who would have thought I'd have to put that in, 5 months ago? Way in advance.
You're not gonna get to that thing.
Well,
You can't get the equipment to it, to dig the hole.
That's the main thing, and I couldn't have done my retaining wall either. So, because I've got another wall basically right next to that I've got to excavate all the way down 12.5 feet below those footings against the caissons to get enough space to get the size footing that needs to be in there. So it's dig this, fill that, dig that, fill this, then get back to this, then dig that back out, then move on to the, it's.
You're the guy.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're taking whatever you can from your subs. I'm sure there are.
Oh, it's a collaborative thing. I don't,
But ultimately, you're making the choices that make this happen. There's you're not calling it, God, I wonder what she's doing. Hey.
No, I've got a plan. The collaboration comes with the expertise of my subs.
Yes.
I'm not a dirt man.
Yep.
I'm not a plumber.
Yep.
But I know how it has to work. So if I say we need to do this and they have either a better way or they can see that something won't work, they speak up and we go about our day. So it's fun that way, and it's good for the subs because they get to show their expertise.
Yeah, and they're a part of it.
And,
This is a big team effort, man. And
huge team effort.
I just got to give you kudos for your part in it, because this does not happen with you, and I'm impressed with what you're doing. And I want to show you what they're excavating. Okay, that, I believe, brings us to the end of Duncan Brown. So we're going to come back after a very short break. Come back at 20 after, give you a little chance to take another little break. I got 12 after, come back, take an 8-minute break. See you back here at 20 minutes after. And see you then. Okay. Okay. Cool. God damn, it's cold in here. Freezing.
All right, here we are. We're back. Remove this pin and see if I can't get gallery view back. I can't seem to get my gallery view back. And I can't figure out why. I can't get my gallery view back. But okay, so it's me. Hi. You guys want to comment on what you saw? Anybody like to say anything or ask any questions about that video of that Grossman project? And also, before you answer, do I have? I want to make sure that nobody came in that I didn't get. So, people I have as not being here is Dario. Still not here, Dario. Donna, you are here. Oh yeah, I checked you here. Dario's here. Emmanuel, did you come? D'Angelo Rangel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good.
I came in when you guys were watching the video.
Okay, good. Glad you're here. D'Angelo, are you D? Do you like to be called D?
Yeah, but D'Angelo is fine too.
Okay. No, Dario likes to be called D, so I'm going to call you D'Angelo. So you are here. And what about Josh Santana? Joshua? No? Okay. Okay. So, comments, questions? Anybody? Nobody?
So was Swan doing the whole excavation, or was there multiple companies?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer for it, but I suspect that Schwann is doing all the excavation. I would be surprised. Now, John Kenny has some pretty big equipment, so they, I'm sure, did some of their own excavation for their footings, etc. Like, for instance, all the caisson drills, any cylindrical bores. I don't know if you saw his rig, but he had a pretty big rig with a 2-foot diameter drill bit on it, and which Duncan told me they are so into bedrock there that to drill a caisson 20-foot deep took 7 hours. 2-foot diameter, 20-foot deep, 7 hours, because they're just basically chipping. They're chipping a hole through bedrock, which is pretty challenging. And please, I entertain any of you. And D'Angelo, let me see your face if you wouldn't mind. I'm not on mute, but let me see your face, D'Angelo. I've got a thing about seeing people's faces. Same thing with you, Aurelio. If you can't, let me see your face. I check from time to time to see if people's faces are around, but I want to say a couple of things about the videos. Duncan Brown, huh? Duncan Brown. I trained Duncan Brown. I'm gonna take. I know. I'm gonna take a bunch of credit though, because I trained him for years. He worked under me. He worked as my employee. We worked together, but I pretty much brought him into jobs. That curved handrail was might have been the first curved handrail that we ever did. That Pesante job in Hope Ranch. Interestingly enough, I told this story to Duncan, but I didn't tell it to you guys. About I don't know, 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago, I came to a job, and it was looking at a very large remodel. It was a job in Hope Ranch. It was looking at a big 2-story house, kind of on a hill, a lot of acreage around it, and it was looking at a guest house, pool, addition remodel. It turned out to be about $5 million plus. It was a super big job at the time, especially for me. I wound up not getting the job, but when I walked in, and I walked into the foyer, I knew I had been there before. I knew I had been there before. And then I walked and I looked at that. I looked at the curved staircase, this curved staircase and the curved handrail system, because it started in a volute, which is it's fully does a complete 360 and then comes up and then does an up easing and then heads up the stairs and it curves on the way up. And then another up easing gooseneck to flat and a big radius. It's just a super involved handrail. And it all came back. That was my job. I designed that and built it. Duncan and I did. And we had never done, either one of us, a curved staircase or a curved handrail, but we knew they could be done, and we knew that we could do it, and we did. And it was just phenomenal, really. Just it's one thing about construction I absolutely adore, is that there are nothing but problems. You just solve problems. All you do is solve problems, and which means you're challenged all the time. And the problems that you solve, typically the solutions show up in something concrete and real, like a curved handrail staircase that people's hands still go down, after all these years. So you build something lasting. You have an opportunity to overcome challenges, you rise to the challenge, and then you accomplish things that have real value in the world, and they're physical, and you can touch them. I love that a lot, in case you haven't noticed. I noticed in the closed captioning that the YouTube captioner, on the 2 times that COVID was said, it spelled out coveted. It was COVID, in case you read coveted. And it also, the next time it was said, COVID was said, it came out Kobe. So COVID has nothing to do with coveting, nor Kobe beef, nor Kobe Bryant. So I want to get that on record. All right, let's go back to Canvas. Let's go to my dashboard. Let's go to our textbook. And I was looking through this. I thought this was pretty cool, actually. So I wanted to just go through some stuff with you this last half hour we're going to be together. And I'm going to jump all the way ahead. Jim said he had gone through 30 with you, which I find interesting. And we can go to 30, but I'm going to jump ahead because we've been talking about, I had that sewer, that waste problem. So we're going to talk about plumbing systems. I'm going to show you some things about plumbing systems in your book. I'm going to share this screen with you. Let's start with some flashcards, and we'll see if we can do this together. Wow. Since we haven't gone through the book, a bored well, I may or may not have the answer. I'll throw it out there. Does anybody want to answer what a bored well is? Got a feeling it's what we've been talking about, like dry wells and, well, like a dry well. Let's see. And believe me, if you got the answer, just unmute yourself and chime in. So a bored well is a well that's made with an earth auger. I'm sorry?
No, I was just going to say that.
Okay. So let's go next. A casing. Well, I think a casing is something that sleeves a hole or sleeves something, or then there's door casing, but then we're in plumbing. So let's see what, and I haven't really reviewed this chapter. I'm kind of going here completely blind. Let's just see how my knowledge is.
It talks about.
Okay, it's a trim around the outside or the inside of a door, which is what I know that that's what casing is, or a window, or any opening. As a finished carpenter, it's also the finished lumber around a post or beam. Okay. A compression fitting. Compression fittings are used in electrical, but mostly in plumbing. And it's a fitting that it works. It stays the fitting. It works by, it's 2 pieces joining, and it works by compression. So you've got one piece fitting into another tight enough so it's compressed, and that's what makes the fitting. And it's not your best fitting. We like soldered fittings and mechanical fittings. We like threaded fittings. Compression fitting is defined by our book as a connector that seals joints by compressing a ring of soft material such as brass. So those pro presses that we talked about, we did that last week, right? Yeah, I did the pro press. Those do compression fittings. I should have just said pro press. A compression valve. Who knows what a compression valve is? I'm not going to explain it. Let's just go right to the answer. A compression valve is a valve that makes use of a tapered plug or washer for full seating to stop water flow or partial seating to control the flow. Interesting. So it's a valve that I guess you would, I don't know how you'd activate the valve, but it uses a tapered plug or a tapered washer that you can crank all the way down for a full seating to stop water flow, or you can crank it up slightly for a partial seating to control the flow. Makes sense to me.
Would that be the same as a saddle valve? You know, those little things they used to use to hook up the water to a fridge?
Oh yeah, saddle valve. No, I don't think so. I think a saddle valve is something completely different, John, but I can't tell you definitively yes or no. I can't tell you. Sorry. Drainage, waste, and venting system. That's the DWV system. Well, kind of speaks for itself, right? Let's go back. Click on it. The non-pressure part of a plumbing system that carries away wastewater and solid waste. Drainage, waste, and venting. So let's see. Non-pressure. That's the big thing there. So your drainage, your waste, your water waste from your sinks and lavies and showers, and your waste from your toilets, those go through plumbing pipes that are not pressurized. They're not rated to be pressurized. They're not under pressure. They're just open drains for your waste and outside drainage. And then of course, venting is to vent sewer gases up and out of the building. And those are not under pressure either. A drilled well, didn't we just talk about that? Huh. That's a well used where a great depth is needed to reach a suitable water table. I guess a drilled well versus a dug well. Okay, who doesn't know what a faucet is? Well, let's just see what they say what a faucet is. How do they define a faucet here? A faucet is a device that delivers water, usually to a fixture, hose, appliance, or bucket. I'm getting some weird background static. Anybody unmuted besides me? Yeah, no, you guys are all muted. Hugo's not muted. I don't think Hugo's got any background stuff. I'm going to go ahead. Can I do that? Can I mute Hugo? No, because he's pinned. Okay.
He's not connected to audio.
He's not. Okay, so it's definitely not Hugo. Okay, so it's maybe I just.
It looks like Brenda's unmuted.
Yeah, and it's actually Brenda can't be muted. Somehow I have no option to mute Brenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not connected with audio either.
Okay, yeah, you're on Jose's audio. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah, but yeah, it is picking up though. People are hearing the noise, so I don't know how that happens.
Okay, people aren't, Linda? They're not? Okay.
They are hearing the noise. It can be heard, so I don't know how that's happening if she's saying she's not.
Yeah, I thought Aurelio, does it look like Aurelio is?
Let's see. I thought I saw mutes on everybody, but yeah, Aurelio's muted.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yes, everybody's got a mute.
Yeah, prove that lady wrong and say, okay, I'm gonna say something. See if you hear me.
I hear you.
Who's that? That's
Whoever just spoke, I heard.
that was Jose. He unmuted himself, didn't he? But anyway, we digress. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a fixture, and fixtures now That's a plumbing devices are called fixtures. A fixture is a device that receives water from the water supply system and has a means for discharge into the drainage waste venting system. And who can tell me the 3 things that every plumbing fixture has to have? Who can tell me? Unmute yourself. Tell me. Come on. I've said it more than once. Please. Somebody. Catherine, do you know? Donna, do you know? Aurelio?
Water supply?
I'm sorry, did you ask me a question?
No, I said, doesn't it have to have like water to it? And,
Water is one of it. What are the other 2?
drainage pipes.
Waste.
And then
the other
a vent.
There you go. Water waste vent. Say no more. Water waste vent. Water waste vent. That's what every plumbing fixture needs. Every plumbing fixture. Water waste vent. And then of course, drainage. Probably undoubtedly for me, the most important and trickiest part of any plumbing fixture is the waste. And we want a 1/4 inch to a foot flow downhill. Flare fitting, a flare fitting. Anybody know what a flare fitting is? Anybody want to just tell us? No? Not right away? Okay, let's find out. A flare fitting is a fitting that requires no soldering and is designed to tightly fit against the tubing and mating parts. Like a press fit. Compression fitting denotes a rubber O-ring that compresses around it. A flare fitting doesn't have that. It's just a nice pressed fit. All right. A gate valve. I love gate valves. So a gate valve is a valve that controls water. And a gate valve actually throws a gate over it rather than a ball valve. A ball valve, as you turn the handle on a ball valve, like a ball valve in a hose bib, you would turn the handle and it would rotate a ball that has a hole in it. And it would rotate that hole from up and not in the direction of flow to down or horizontal or in the direction of flow and through that hole with the water flow. And it partially flow until the hole was fully turned, till the ball valve was fully turned, usually 90 degrees. And a gate valve, when you turn the valve, it actually drops a gate to completely cover the opening, restrict the flow, or open it. Okay. A valve that controls water with a flat disc that slides up and down perpendicular to the supply. It is never used to restrict flow. It's either fully open or fully closed. That's pretty important. O-ring. A ring used on faucets to produce leak-proof seal between the faucet body and the internal parts. Now, O-rings are certainly used on things besides faucets, but they're usually a rubber or a rubber facsimile that makes the seal. PEX, cross-linked polyethylene. So at some point, if it works out, I will either show you a video or take you, I'll probably have to show you a video because I don't think I'll be able to take you with me on Zoom, but I'll take you through our tiny house and through my fifth wheel trailer, which I use as a teaching tool here at the Wake Center, and show you some PEX plumbing, which is a flexible way to plumb a water supply, hot and cold. You cannot use it for waste at all, ever. But let's see, PEX, cross-linked polyethylene tubing, frequently used for freshwater supply piping. It's not the piping of choice because it's not as reliable as copper pipe for water, but it is faster and a lot less expensive. They have gone a ways to get the fittings right, to eliminate electrolysis in the fittings. Now they're now all brass, and you have to use a pro press type thing, a press type tool to compress the fittings. You have O-ring fittings, but it's tubing, so you don't have to go, 20-foot sticks of pipe, solder them together. Or in the old days, water pipe was all run with galvanized pipe. Galvanized half-inch pipe was hung under your house, and every one of those pipes was 20 feet long, and it had a threaded end at one end, and the other end had a end that received threads. Or I'm sorry, both ends were threads, and they were coupled together with a coupler that received the threads in the old days. And pipe compound was used to seal those threads, used to seal threaded connections between pipes and other parts. And now, so plastic pipe is rarely threaded. Sometimes it is. It's usually glued, almost always glued. Slip, but there still are threaded connections on plastic pipe. But all your metal pipe, other than copper, which is soldered and does have compression fittings, but your iron pipes, galvanized and black iron pipes, those all have threads cut on the end of the pipes. They're threaded connections. They use pipe dope, and it's a whole other thing. I'm hoping, what I really want to do is get you guys I want to get some plumbers in here to show you, to sweat some joints for you and show you, talk about plumbing joints. I find it super interesting, all this stuff, because most of us take this stuff for granted. And if you're getting involved in the trades, the more you know about how things work in construction and how things are built and the physics of it all, the better contractor you'll be, the better homeowner you'll be, in my opinion. Plumber's putty. This is the stuff you put, it's the pipe dope you put on those threaded connections. Putty used on sink rims, strainers, faucets, and toilet bowls to produce a seal, among other things. Potable. Who knows what potable means? It means drinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, drinkable. Potable water is drinkable water. Non-potable water is not drinkable water. If you see a sign that says non-potable water, don't drink it, please. We want to see it around. Fit to drink. Potable water is fit to drink. Rough end. This is rough. So in plumbing, when you're plumbing a house, you have rough end, top out, set finish. Sometimes top out's called stub out. Rough end is the dirt work for the plumbing. That's what's going in now on the Grossman job. And then top out, they'll get all those pipes out into walls, and then the vents up through the roof, and the closet flanges for the toilets, and the drains installed for top out. And then as the project gets towards finish, then it'll be set finish. That's when the fixtures get set, and the chrome drains get put on, and the faucets, and the air gaps, and everything else that has to do with setting plumbing finish. The first phase of plumbing, which includes installing all pipes to the point where connections are made with the plumbing fixtures. Maybe I'll just read you the answers and then explain them. Probably better, right? Slip joint washer is a washer used to seal a P-trap connections between sinks. Now, John and I yesterday had a slip joint washer connection with the waste and overflow on this tub we had to remove because we are going to do some dirt work and have to bust up some concrete and get into the dirt. So we had a slip joint, thank gosh. You don't have to use any tools with that. You can pretty much do it with your hands, and that allowed us to get that fitting undone and get the tub out, which was great. So we can make some really ugly things happen in that bathroom until it gets pretty again. So a stub in, which I would call top out. Termination point, well, I take it back, yeah. Termination point of plumbing pipes that are to be connected to fixtures, topped out, stubbed out. Submersible pump is a water pump that's installed in a well. Well, not well, deep subject, right? Well, it's not a submersible pump just isn't installed in a well. A submersible pump is installed in the ejector, as an ejector pump in the vessel, the tank that collects the solids and solids that get macerated and before it goes out to the sewer, city sewer, like what's happening at the Grossman job. There's a submersible pump in that. If you have a sump pump in your basement, which I do, I have one in my basement, I have one in the far low corner of my property, that's a submersible pump. Usually submersible pumps, well, not usually, submersible pumps are always meant to be underwater. That is, they don't have to be underwater, but they're meant to be underwater. They work underwater, and they almost always have float switches. So they turn on with a float that's attached to their switch, so that when the water level comes up, the switch floats up to a point where it clicks on the pump pumps, draws through its fan blades, screens and fan blades inside that. It draws water, pumps it out through, whatever pipes, however it's pumping it from one place to another. Sweat soldering. Well, we saw videos of that, didn't we? Yes, we did. Joining process for copper pipe in which the fitting and pipe are heated with a gas flame and solder is drawn into the point into the joint by capillary action. And I just, when you see that solder just zip around that joint, it's like magic. It's like the first time you ever saw a pot. Remember the first time you ever saw a potter take a lump of clay and then have it just come up and be a pot? Magic. I'll never forget it. Okay, Teflon tape. I'm getting tired of reading. Would you read that, Armando?
Tape used to seal threaded connections between pipe and other parts.
Okay, and you guys, I'm sure, guys and gals, have all seen Teflon tape. It's white, it's thin, it's on a little roll like a adhesive tape used to be. Some of you are too young to remember adhesive tape, but it's cheap, and you tear it off and you wrap it around threaded connections, and it's like a pipe dope. It seals the threads. Very, very important stuff to have at home in your toolkit. Okay. So Brenda, would you please read that vent stack? Tell us what a vent stack is.
The part of a DWV system that is open to the atmosphere to allow air into the system, preventing siphoning of traps.
Okay, and what's DWV?
Drainage waste venting.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, yeah, water waste vent. All plumbing fixtures need vents and they need traps. And of course, we know that there are no traps needed in water closets, AKA toilets, because they have built-in traps. Traps are full of water and they keep sewer gases. The water blocks the gas from penetrating and coming out and putting sewer gas into your building. And then all that sewer gas that's happening, that's creating gas, is vented out. And it also creates an anti-siphoning effect. So that when you have a vented, it's kind of like if you have any of that, if you have Tide or something like that, liquid detergent, and you press that bulb that operates a spigot that lets the detergent come into the cup or whatever you put it in, you need to crack the cap above that to let a little air in, and then you get that effective siphoning. So you get a much better flow, much better flow, and that's what vents allow. If that was a closed system, the drain closed system, even with a P-trap, without a vented drain, you would not drain anywhere near as well. So that's why physically, the physics of it are plumbing fixtures, water waste, vent, and it's got to go out through the roof. Now you can dirty arm over, there are rules governing how far over you can go with vents, but then they've got to go straight up. And when you go over with them, they have to go over a 1/4 inch to a foot on the rise. Can anybody explain to me the reasoning of why vents traveling horizontally before they start going vertically have to go at a 1/4 inch to a foot or 2%? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to tell you. A vent stack, if you look at a roof of any house, you're going to see some black PVC pipes, ABS pipes. They're going to stick above the roof. They're going to stick about a foot above the roof. They're going to have a T-hat flashing around them, but they're going to be above the roof. They're holes to the plumbing, to the drain system that will take rainwater. So rainwater, ambient water, dew can collect and run down that vertically, straight down that pipe. And when it hits to a horizontal part, it needs to have the fall to take it back down into the drain. So it can't be horizontal or you get standing water in your vents, and it certainly can't go the other way. So you'd get a pocket of water, which could eventually fill up your vents and could make your vents not work at all. Okay, venting. Jose, read that, please.
A part of a drainage piping that permits air to circulate in the pipes.
Yep, just like I just said. Okay, water supply system, going down the list. Catherine, what is it?
System of pipes that distribute water under pressure to kitchens, bathrooms, and laundry areas.
Okay, excellent. And I think the the important part of that is under pressure, because all water, unless it's drainage or wastewater, all supply water is under pressure. And that's a whole other science. We have street pressure and you have house pressure, and you have the pressure that fittings fixtures operate ideally under. And typically your street pressure can be greater than what your fixture pressure wants to be, which is why every house at its service entry should have a pressure regulator, which regulates that pressure and steps it down from street pressure, which can be too high, to lesser pressure, which still gives you good water pressure, but doesn't blow out your fittings on your fixtures. Colby, would you read that, please? Tell us what a well casing is. Colby, you there?
Sorry, yeah. Larger diameter steel pipe that is fit into a well after it is drilled or bored.
Okay, keep going. Colby?
Sorry, all the pictures were blocking it. It's supposed to prevent soil and rock from falling from the sides
into the well. Okay, so you'd bore a well, right? You dig a well, and these days you'd have it bored with a big auger. And then if you struck water and you were gonna use it as a well, you would need to case the well. If you didn't, you'd want to backfill it and make it go away and not leave big holes in the ground. But if you were gonna use it as a well, then you would definitely put a casing around it. You would put a pipe or a series of pipes connected to each other, which would case the sides of the well and keep it from being just a dirt bore and having rocks and stuff getting into your well water. Oh, we're back to 25. Cool. We're getting down there. So plumbing systems, flashcards, plastic pipe. Let's look at a matching activity. We'll just go along here. Okay, this looks good. So a system of pipes that distributes water under pressure to kitchens, bathrooms, and laundry areas. What is that?
Water supply system.
Very good.
Yep.
How about a ring used on faucets to produce leak-proof seal between the faucet body and internal parts?
O-ring.
Say it again.
O-ring.
O-ring.
You can't just drag those over. Okay. How about a washer used to seal P-trap connections beneath sinks?
Slip joint washer.
Very good. That's what I'm calling it too. Okay. How about the tape? Wait, how about fit to drink?
Potable.
The tape used to seal threaded connections between pipes and other parts?
Teflon tape.
How about a fitting that requires no soldering, designed to tightly fit against the tubing and mating parts?
Flare fitting.
Which one is it?
Flare fitting?
Flare fitting.
I think it is too. A well used where great depth is needed to reach a suitable water table.
Drilled well.
Is it a drill or a board? Let's say drilled, unless we come across something that makes us want to change our mind. That's G, right? All right, termination point of plumbing pipes that are going to be connected to fixtures.
Stub in.
Good. I believe that's the answer as well. So I, connector that seals joints by compressing a ring of soft material such as brass.
Compression fitting.
J, a device that delivers water, usually to a fixture, hose, appliance, or...
I'm sorry, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't hear the answer when the student said it. Could he repeat that, or can someone just say it?
Which one? You mean the one just before I?
Yeah.
That's the connector that seals joints by compressing a ring of soft material such as brass. Wait, that's the one I just said, isn't it? Is that
Oh,
it?
I see the answer now. I see it. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
So what's the device that delivers water, usually to a fixture?
Faucet. Is that it? No.
That's it. No, I think that's it. I think you're absolutely right. And what's the part of the drainage piping that permits air to circulate in the pipes?
Venting.
My answer two, a well that's made with an earth auger.
Bored well.
I believe that's true. And then used to seal threaded connections between pipes and other parts. There's only one empty space. Let's see how we did. What do you think, gang? Woohoo! We killed it. Okay, let's get out of there. Now I'm going to try to get back to my gallery view. Now, John, what did you tell me I had to find gallery view somewhere? Okay, you know what it was? And now I see exactly what I was doing. All right, I see exactly what I was doing. I was covering it with that screen. So we've got about, by my Swiss watch, my Ebel 1911, we've got about a minute. So I just want to say that I was listening to NPR, I think yesterday, day before, so something, listening to someone talk about a phenomenon aptly named Zoom fatigue. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing, Zoom fatigue. This whole thing of relating to you all and these individual tiles, it's a stretch for all of us. So I'm being aware of that now. I'm trying, and I don't know, I didn't listen enough, or I was doing something else, or I got out of the car. If there's a way to mitigate that, if there's a way to get it better. And in the meantime, since we're all kind of stuck with Zoom, I'm trying to take more frequent breaks and just really divvy it up so you're not looking at a bunch of tiles, or me picking the apricot out of my teeth, sorry. Not looking at all me, or, you know, so we can kind of mix it up. And so if you have any suggestions for me, class, contact me. You have my email, you have my phone number, You can always get in contact with me. You can give me feedback a variety of ways. I do have office hours. If you ever want to have a session with me, you just got to let me know, and I'm at your service. And I can't wait to see you all next Saturday. As you noticed, I'm not racing off to a tee time. I've decided to suspend my Saturday golf, which, by the way, if any of you knew me, like as well as Catherine knows me, you know what an incredible sacrifice that is. So, and I'm making that for you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm making it for me. It's just too much to do. It's just too much to do, you know. And I want to be. I don't want to be all nervous. I want to be here with you. I want to be present, and I want to be. I want to do the best I can possibly do with you. Okay. And I would like it if you would try to do the best you could possibly do with me too. And we're doing good. I got no complaints. I'll tell you right now.
Hit us with some more.
Everybody being here. Thank you so much. See you all next Saturday. You're just a great bunch of folks, and I'm glad.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you so much, Rodney.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thanks for the flashcards.
Videos.
Ah, that was good.
Hey, Rodney,
Hey,
I was going to tell you to end with some more of that book that you've been reading.
yeah, no, I'll start with some. But I'll introduce a little bit more. Okay. Maybe I'll starting with it, and then I'll do a little bit after each break.
Right.
Yeah,
There you go.
great. Thank you.
Have a great week.
Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
See you. See you, Donna. See you, Catherine. Catherine, unmute. Hey,
Hey.
Since I've got you right here, yeah.
And Carl's back in the background too. Hey, Rodney, I just want to tell you, you are so enthusiastic with your students with a lot of humor. And I have to tell you, just as a reflection, you do a lot more interaction in a good way that you have people read. Jim doesn't do that. And I'm telling you, as a teacher, you force your students to be there and do that. And I think it's really great.
Well, thank you for that feedback, because I'm trying to be aware of just exactly that and not have this. It's so easy for this just to be a platform for, you know, where when I have people in the classroom, it's really, you know, you can elicit, but from here I have to consciously try to, you know, get people to just talk, read. So.
No, I think that here's Carl. And
yeah, we just want to know why, you know, when you used to teach in class that you had a bunch of spitballs on your back. We want to know why that happened.
Yeah, that's why I stopped wearing my shield and my cape.
No, I think that the 4 agreements is really cool. And I also think, you know, Jim doesn't do the safety meeting. And I think that's really helpful. And even though the guys don't like to read, I think it's really helpful. The only thing is, like with Brenda answering all the questions. Hi, Brenda. That it's great that she knows it, but I think it'd be good to let some of the other people come up with the answers. You know,
that's good feedback. I'll basically just start calling on people and give them an opportunity, rather than you know, just leave it to somebody. Because yeah, Brenda's because she's obviously studying the book, but I still can't figure out. She and Jose come on 5 minutes late exactly every single Saturday. It's like they're in a different time zone. They're not in Santa Barbara, so in some ways there probably are 5 minutes apart.
No, it's just a pattern. But you know what? Also, I think she's the one that's unmuted. And also, I wanted to just say to you that you're very patient with the sign language interpreters, because it's a whole extra layer for all the guys. And I think it's great. But sometimes also, I think that they are, since I have taken sign language classes, sometimes they should realize Hugo is great at reading.
Yeah.
So they don't have to translate everything that's being read.
Listen,
you know,
you're talking about areas that I've been going over with my team.
I know.
And
I know.
Here's the latest, which you weren't privy to because I had this conversation